Today is October 6th, and I'm going to harvest the butternut squash and take them in, put them in the greenhouse to cure for a couple weeks, and then they'll be ready to store for the winter. Some of them are not quite ripe, but I'll pick them anyway and see if they go ahead and mature. This vine just really went everywhere this year. This is our back to Eden garden. These are all growing on wood chips, as you could probably see, and they've been doing very well this year. It's important when you harvest the butternut squash to try and keep as much of the stem as possible on it. If you cut it too short, it'll rot from the stem into the plant. So I'll see if I can zoom in here on one of them and cut off a stem. Here's one that's out in the open. And you can see the stem here and here. If you cut it off up here and then cut these side branches off, that gives as much of a stem as possible, and it will preserve that plant. So I'll go ahead and pick the rest of these, and I'll get them in the wheelbarrow, and we'll see how many of them we have. I think there's about 23, but we'll soon know. So I'll pause this video and we'll start collecting the squash and see how many we have. Okay, all the butternut squash are harvested except for a few green ones that are too green to pick, like this one right here. It's way too green, it won't ripen. And there's a few more in here. Here's one that just trying to get started, and obviously they're not going to be ready for this year. And there's two up on the side of the bed there where it started to climb up on the raised beds. But overall we got most of them out of here, and we have 26 squash. Here's another one that is too green to harvest, and this will probably end up in the compost bin because it's not going to ripen in time. So the vines, as you can see, are starting to die, so it's time to take in the squash. And we have a wheelbarrow full that we're going to take in and put in the greenhouse and let them cure. There's 26 butternut squash here. It's a good harvest this year, and for growing in just wood chips, they did an excellent job. And I imagine next year we'll have some more squash out here. And next year I may plant them on the arbor here and let them climb up. We'll see how that goes. But overall, this back to Eden garden has been very successful for us. So I'll get these into the greenhouse now and lay them out and get them ready to cure for a couple weeks. Okay, all the winter squash are harvested and they're laid out in the greenhouse to start curing. There's 26 of them here. It's very important when they're laid out to cure like this that they not touch each other. They need as much airflow around them as possible. And you'll see there's a fan right overhead which is circulating the air in here, and there's an exhaust fan as well. But that's making sure the air moves in here, and that'll keep them in the curing process, help them along so they'll cure very quickly. So that pretty much concludes this year's harvest of the winter squash. After they're cured in here for about 2 weeks, they'll be ready to move into the storage for the winter storage and make some wonderful baked butternut squash over the year. These are Waltham Butternut Squash, which is a pretty common brand or variety, and we've grown them every year, and the plants just produce and produce. We usually end up giving a lot of them to neighbors because we can't get them all. So that concludes this video. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, post them down below.